Okay, now that we have the case open, let's talk about all the different parts of the instrument, all the different parts of your saxophone. So remember, we took a picture, or we drew a picture, and we remembered what it looks like. So when we take it out, we know how it goes back in, including the neck and the mouthpiece. So let's look at the big part of the instrument. Notice that when I'm picking this up, I'm grabbing by the bell. I would not grab by anything that's small, these small keys, these small rods, because those are just, it's metal, but it's kind of flimsy metal, and you don't want it to bend. So I'm going to grab it by the big metal parts that I can firmly hold and not drop, and then not grasp too tightly to bend these other things. We want to avoid all these other things because you don't want to bend these keys. So this first part is the bell. You can tell. You look right in there, right? There's the bell. And it's this whole section right here. Right here is a guard that guards some of these keys. You can see on the inside, like right here, there's some pads in there. These little pads, and that's what helps the key open up but stop at a certain place. Okay, so these are keys. There are lots of keys all over the saxophone. We have some pinky paddles. I call these paddles. Right? We have some side keys over here. This is your thumb rest that your thumb will go on. Okay, you'll notice on some of the keys there's little pearls, and on those, that's where your fingers go. Your finger doesn't go on every single one of those, obviously. You don't have 5 fingers that go on those, but you skip some of them. On the back, there's this little circle, and that's where your neck strap is going to get hooked into. Okay? And then on the left hand, there's this little part right here. Mine is black. Yours might be another color. That's where my thumb is going to go. I have some other keys right here, some pinky paddles on that part. And then at the top here, there's some key work right here at the back of the saxophone near the top. And you see there's a part right here that when we put another part in, we'll unscrew and screw that back in. There's all those different parts. The saxophone has so many little things. And eventually, you'll be so familiar with all of them, you'll understand what each little thing does. So that's the big part. Right here, I have the neck. And the neck, first thing is you don't want to grab it by this part. You don't want to really because this part could bend, and you don't want that to bend. The neck has a few different things. There's the cork, and that's where the mouthpiece is going to go. This is called the octave key. This is what helps you play some high notes. And you'll notice that on the bottom of that, there's a pad. And on the other part of the saxophone, there's some pads as well. If I pull out this section, whatever has a pad on the bottom, that's used to cover the holes that are in the saxophone, which is how we change notes. So right here, our neck. Okay, this is the part that's going to go onto the saxophone. We've got our cork, and we've got this octave key, and that key work I was talking about is what will move that. Okay, and the neck, remember, goes back in just like that. You wouldn't want to put it in backwards like that. That would cause the case to not close all the way. You can see how it's open. If I pushed really hard, I could bend some of that. So make sure you put the neck in perfectly. And every case might put the neck in a different place. You just got to know what's right for your case. The last thing is the mouthpiece. This has a mouthpiece cap, which is great. Yours might be black. This one's white. And that's what goes over to help protect the mouthpiece itself. If this part of the mouthpiece gets chipped or broken, that would be bad, and you might have to buy a new one. So that tip is very important. So this can protect that. It can also protect your reed. So that's the mouthpiece cap. We also have this is the ligature. Some ligatures are made out of metal, some are made out of cloth. And then there's these ligature screws, and that's where we're going to put the reed. You can see there's a hole right here, and it's pretty flat right there. That's where we're going to put our reed. And I don't have a reed in my case right now, but a reed is just a very thin little piece of wood that we're going to put on top of that. And in a different video, I'll show you how to put the reed on the mouthpiece perfectly. So those are all the different parts of your saxophone. Again, make sure you put it all in correctly. Put any extra things in here. Don't put any extra stuff here. When we close the case, make sure it closes all the way without any pressure. And then we latch our case. There we are.